can I ask you a question? I mean, can I be real and ask you a question? Do you feel like we're in an upside down world where that what's is right is wrong and what's wrong is right? How are you managing with that? I thought about that a lot. And one thing I will honestly confess that it watching the latest video, it doesn't necessarily provide the answers. As much as I want to believe all the answers, Dave said something to me, my husband's Dave. He said, Teresa, God's in charge, but we're in control. I thought. So I thought about that in relation to the true awakening. How is God awakening us with truth, with our voice, to awaken others to their responsibility? How do we, I'm just coming at you honestly, how do we rise up? And I got my answer, if I could share so much, I got one answer from Isaiah. Let's see if I can find it for you. It was the word of comfort the weary one. And then I was pondering often in Isaiah 55, where I got the word for the latest Vinedresser word, the true awakening. So I would just like to share with you that there is hope for you, that there is one who has heard your cries like never before, that the world says is upside down, don't let that fool you. What's upside down is really not the reality. I say, well, what's reality? I'm seeing all this. I'd encourage you to dig in, turn the mainstream news off, that you would dig in and really hear what God's saying to you. Because see, I think this is a time for you to rise up with your voice and really comfort the weary ones. Really be that voice that's like, oh yeah, that's right. God said that. Okay. Oh, okay. I got that. I just believe that. You know, I'm not on Facebook that much except to post. And I went over to my profile and I just put joy. And the next day I just put one word. I think it was peace. I think today was patience. Just one word to anyone who wants to activate God. Just, okay, joy. Let me go in and look in the word. How many times it says joy? Peace. Okay, I'm going to shore up on the promises of God, peace. It's truly an acting out of that rest to run word for 2021, where you're resting on his promises and you're running by making declarations with what he says, powered by the prophetic. So I just encourage you during this day to really let God be your major news source. This is kind of like, let's talk about soul health. Let's talk about, we're all over the place. So how do we fix this? Now I've got a great, I'll give Allison Cook and her friend who co-authored this book. And I love the U-turn that we can take. So we're talking true awakening. And sometimes we have to be true awakened to ourselves. What if we're all twisted and mangled? I've been that way some days. Okay, step one, focus. It's kind of like the FRP process. So let's FRP it. Focus on that overwhelming part of yourself. And what this is it's pulling it right here. It's pulling it out. So you can't hide it anymore. Okay, you can't hide that frustration. So go ahead and focus on it, but don't stop there. Befriend this part of you don't like. It's like, oh, it's kind of weird. Well, you're not stuffing it, so you're feeling it because God gave us emotions, and he's saying you befriend this part of you. And then this is such the key. This is so much like the FRP. Invite Jesus to draw near. Unburden that weary part, and that integrate it into your eternal team of rivals in there that are protecting you. So FRP, focus, pull in, focus on an overwhelming, focus on emotion, focus on you're just going crazy. Befriend that part of you. Go ahead and feel it. And the key, invite Jesus' presence in there and unburden this weary part. There's so much. Sometimes you just need a friend to unburden something. And you like feel a little bit lighter. They can handle it. They can handle it, whether it's text or a phone call. If they're in your inner circle, they're not going, I agree. No, they're going to like, oh man, I feel that too. Let's pray about this. And then integrate that into the promises of God over your life. Unburden that weary part. So I just challenge you during this day, to be a part of the Great Awakening, to be a part of those who are not going to be held back. They're going to go ahead and rest to run. They're going to stay rested in the promises of God instead of the promises of a president. They're going to attach their faith to the miracle working power of God. Like, okay, I'm going to attach my faith to the miracle working God. It says, if I have just small as a mustard seed, I can say to this mountain, move. So here we go, God. You're resting there. And then you rise up in the authority based from your identity, and you rest again in the promises of God. Look at the promises of God. Just make a list of those promises and start doing the running, which is just declaring. Declaring is the running. The declaration's powered from the potency of the prophetic and going forward. I so believe in you. I so believe that God has you up for such a time as this. Go read Isaiah 45 if you want. And look what God says, that he will go before you and level the mountains. He'll smash down the gates of bronze and cut through the bars of iron. I think that in itself is the bars, and the iron is like our fears. I wrote a Vinedresser word last week, and I just want to end with just a part of it. It has to do with your voice. This is the true awakening. The Vinedresser, the lover of your soul, is encouraging you. Raise your voice, beloved, and declare that I am the Lord, the Vinedresser, and there is no other. In your loud voice, I'm setting you in places where I've equipped you to win battles. Just as far as the east is from the west, so far have I removed your transgressions from you. It's the same distance for you to declare who I am, and that there is no other. This is the true awakening. You will be light to a world lost in darkness. You will be the salt to draw all men to my feast, even those who have lost their appetite for a loving meal at my table. Speak, child, and ask God to bring an open heaven over your region. Can I say that again? Speak and ask God to bring an open heaven over your region so he can pour out his righteousness, so salvation can sprout out faster than a Chinese virus, faster than anything, infecting people with the truth of my chain-breaking love. This is the Vinedresser talking. This is the true awakening. Do you see the clenching of teeth from the wayward ones? They cannot figure out or censor my true patriots and my powerful voice resounding from hearts ablaze for truth. They do not know their true father, the Vinedresser. They mock and spew forth words that contain a stench of fear, doubt, and evil. I am the one who made this earth. This is God speaking. I am the one who made this earth and created people to live on it. Watch my hand continue to move, just as they did when I spoke and created the heavens and the stars at my command. I'm raising you up. This is it. I'm raising you up. If God's talking to you, okay, listen. He's saying, I'm raising you up, dear one, lover of the Vinedresser, lover of me, to fulfill my virtuous purposes. Listen for me, dear one. I will be the guide to your actions, to the words I'll have you speak. I've raised you up at such a time as this to use your voice and speak as a servant of the Lord of heaven's army. So what's he calling you to do? God look confused over there. What is he calling you to do? Rise up. You know, as crazy it may seem, he may be calling you to start and create a course. He may be calling you to write the second book, or maybe the first book. He may be calling you just to not be swayed by the emotions and be a solid person that your true friends can come to and say, hey, let's do a U-turn together. I get you. So okay, that sucks. That doesn't feel good. Let's go ahead and acknowledge it. Let's bring the presence of God into it for sure. Let's unload a burden or two. And then let's redirect, being led by the Spirit, not by our soul. I can do that in a text in this day of not seeing my friends or they're too far away. And it's such an honor to be able to unload. So ask God, how can I unload? How can I do a U-turn? How can I go forward with your words to be a part of the true awakening? Part of the true awakening is being that one in Isaiah, talking about being the one who God raised up with his words to comfort the weary one. So if this is a comfort to you, awesome. But if you know that you're being called to use your voice to comfort others, I hope you'll take that into action. All right, on a Sunday, very rare, but just doing a little work for the Redeem Your Voice camp. If you want to know more about Redeem Your Voice or just finding your voice and marketing your voice, go to ikingsmedia.com/blueprint and we can have a talk. Then you'll get a free blueprint. ikingsmedia.com/blueprint. When it's all said and done, you have a voice. It's very powerful. Let me just tell you, someone hasn't told you, you are enough. God's raised you up. You have a voice. All your emotions, they can come into line and you can go forward with what God's called you. You are enough. You're very powerful. And you're really loved by God. In fact, you know what? Someone needs to hear this. God's real proud of you. Yeah, God's real proud of you. All right. Talk to you in the next video. It won't be on Sunday, I doubt it, but it's been nice to have a chat.